And back to you making beats and everything for a second. So like, what's your basic process when making beats? Do you have to be inspired, or does it? Do you just like start experimenting, putting sounds together until it starts making sense? Like, walk us through that process.
No doubt, man. When I'm making beats, it's really it is inspiration. It has to be inspiration. I usually, to be honest with you, I start with the drums because drums are my inspiration. Good drums get me hyped. When I'm digging in the crates, when I'm going somewhere looking for records, which is what I do in every city I go to, that's the first thing I do is find a record store. It don't matter where I am.
Right.
That's the priority. That's why I'm there. It don't matter what I'm there for. I'm there to dig. And so when I go to a store, I'm looking for drums. I'm looking for open drums. I'm looking for things I can dig, chop, that kind of thing. So I'm always hunting for drums, and that's my inspiration. So I start with the drums, and then I'll listen to some different samples and get inspired. And sometimes I'll take something and chop it up, and then I'll replay it and take the sample out. Or I'll take something and chop it up and then, add a little sprinkle of this or a sprinkle of that and go from there. But it's really, the process is always drums first for me personally. I know other people don't, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I always start with drums, man. That's my steez.
Okay, that's what's up. And so like with the record digging, like, so how many, if you could guess, how many records do you think you have in your collection?
No, man, 20, 30,000. I got
wow.
Records. Yeah, I mean, I got a few back here that just, for my office so I can listen when I'm just chilling. But my studio, I got records. They come in on the outside of my studio. My wife is like, look, no more.
Yeah, no more records. just stacked up.
And I got some at my mom's house. My dad's records are at my mom's house. So I still got them. So it's records everywhere, man.
Yeah, that's super dope, man. Yeah. And when I hear your beats, they just have like a jazzy, laid back, soulful style. So like, how did you like initially develop your musical style?
That's a great question. I think it really just came from enjoying the music. I really was I'm a fan of hip hop. I'm not really gonna sit here and act like I'm like an expert or anything, man. I'm just the kind of dude who I love it. I'm a fan. I grew up in it. So I think it mainly came from just being a fan and just listening. Also probably from my dad, listening to my pop's records and growing up in the household where that's all he did was play music. So I grew up on it.
Okay. Does your dad, does he do music at all as well, or he
didn't. He sang. He was in a couple of doo-wop groups in the 50s and 60s. He did his thing there, but he didn't play any instruments or anything. But he was just a avid record collector. So I mean, you gotta imagine. All those records. A lot of the records that people were sampling, I had.
You had them, yeah.
In his collection, and so that was just. So it just fueled me. It was like, yo, let me chop up something. Let me get it right.
Yeah, it was so so convenient when you have it right in your household, So and then hip hop comes, you're like, okay, let me start messing with this. So I also know that you're a DJ as well. So you had the records and stuff at the house. Your dad were playing, So did you start out DJing and then it naturally evolved into producing?
Nah, that's the natural order of things. That's how it should be, but that ain't how it was for me. I started out producing. And then went into DJing. I only went into DJing just, out of necessity. We're on tour Lone Catalyst, and I mean, we gotta have a DJ. This is
Right,
hip
right.
hop. So that became me. So I just started learning and practicing, and I always had turntables. I just never started DJing, and then I ended up DJing, and I'm decent. I ain't like Rhetmatic or none of them cool guys, but I get the job done.
Yeah, yeah. So you don't do a lot of the the turntable tricks and stuff.
Nah, no tricks in the kid. Nah, but I can rock a party. That's something I can do.
Yeah. So sometimes that's all you need, just be able to rock the party and know what to play.
Exactly.
Yeah, most definitely. So like as far as producing, like, so how long ago was it when you first started producing?
Man, I think I started with my boy DJ Buka, man. Me and him, we found like samples in my pop's crates in '87.
Oh, okay.
You Got to Chill when that came out, and we found that Jungle Boogie. Dun, 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 dun. We lost our minds.
Yeah.
So we just started going through the records and looking. So we started doing pause tapes and started making our own little stuff. And then Buka was my DJ back then, and I rapped in '87, '89. And so he was, we was making beats just off of breaks and stuff we was finding. And that was because we didn't have equipment. We was little kids. We didn't know what we was doing.
Right.
And then I got a Casio SK5 sampler. Ended up using that, learning how to make stuff on that and program and do sequences. And that was my first lesson. And then I learned on the EPS 16 Plus. A friend of mine had that. And then from there, the ASR 10. And then that was all she wrote. I started making beats.
Okay.
ASR 10. I got my first piece of real equipment in '94, the ASR 10. And I've been doing it since '94, so I guess what's that about to be 30 years?
Yeah, almost 30 years. Yep. Yeah, that's what's up. That kind of leads into a question that I have, like your production weapons of choice. Like you talked about what you started out with. What was that? The Casio
SK5.
SK5. Okay. And like, what were you using when you did the beats for Black Star?
The ASR 10.
ASR 10.
Yeah, okay. And Sonic ASR 10. I was using that up until about last year, and I still have it, use it. I use the MPC 2000, sometimes the XL, and I use the Roland SP 404 sometimes. Mm-hmm. But my main weapon of choice nowadays is Serato Studio.
Okay.
Yeah, Serato Studio is very intuitive. It reminds me so much of the ASR. It's got the same distinctive qualities, and I just took to it like a fish to water. Once I started playing with it, I fell in love. So that's my weapon of choice today, man. That's what I go in on.
Okay, so with Serato sample, so do you use another DAW with it?
Serato Studio.
Serato's. Oh, okay. So you use the Serato Studio to lay the tracks out and stuff.
Yeah, I don't even use sample. I've never even tried sample. I don't need to because Serato Studio does everything I need.
Okay.
And then and actually, man, to be honest, I've been mixing inside of Serato Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Because normally what I thought I would end up doing is taking it to Pro Tools and then mixing it and blah blah blah. But it's got a pretty decent.
So they really even got a good mixing suite inside.
Got a good mixer. It's got good effects. It's got good compressor, a limiter. It's got everything I need to make the beats sound how I need them to sound. So.
Okay, so you could just right out of that, you could pretty much do everything.
Right out my latest single,
I believe. Okay.
My latest single, the house single I just did on Push the Fader is called I Believe. And that came straight out of Serato Studio, nothing else, straight to the mastering session to the vinyl. Okay.
When you create your beats, is it mostly samples that you use now, or do you also incorporate like live instruments that you find that you put in or whatever?
It's a combination of both. I'm a hip hop dude, so I'm a sampling artist. If I hear, I need to hear a sample in there like that. For me, that's the That's the ultimate. Yeah, that feels good because it's just bringing that nostalgia, man. Bringing a piece of the old to make it shine and make your stuff sound good. So I need a sample in mind. That's what I'm looking for.
Most definitely. Yeah, I feel the same way. That like that's the tradition. That's what hip hop started on. So you know, like I make beats and stuff too, and that's mostly what I do is incorporate samples with it, break beats and all type of things like that.
You get it. You get it, bro.
Yep. And I found that you coined the term jazz hop. How would you define that term as it pertains to your production?
You know, man, we started using that when we did the first Liquid Crystal project in 2006, because we were really trying to make jazz music with hip hop beats, you know, and that's really what it was. So it was hip hop drums, that boom bap, right? That boom.
Yep.
Right. You want that, and then you want the jazz instruments right over it, man. And that's what jazz hop was for me. You know, I mean, it's inspired by native tongues, you know.
Right. I figured that. Yeah. You know, Tribe Called Quest.
De La.
Yeah. De La Soul.
It's inspired by that, but it's really just that feel. Like it should feel like hip hop with jazz instruments.
Most definitely. Yeah. So I that's what I kind of figured that you know what you were going for, because I can definitely hear it in your music, you know.
Indeed.